Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
Wow, what an ending!
Scratch! Spoilers!
Yes, I know. These two videos in particular aged very poorly. Actually, as I was making this video, I asked Bob on Threads why the episode was marketed as the season finale, and he said, "All we know is that they felt it was important to do it this way and asked us not to reveal anything. We respected their wishes." So, it was deliberate, maybe in a play to make it hit harder? I guess that works better if you're not a fan who's constantly online, where the fate of the show has been a topic of frustrating speculation for months. By the way, no, I don't apologize for waiting for official information as opposed to being pessimistic and or actively spreading leaks. But you know what video actually aged extremely well? Was this one talking about Disney Channel's terrible marketing and scheduling. For real, Disney, if you could do some actual marketing outside of the launch and not just require the crew and a bunch of teenagers to do your marketing for you, that would be great. Thank you. But before I get too far into this video, please consider dropping a like on the video and subscribing, as that really helps me against the YouTube algorithm. So yes, the Ghost and Molly McGee is in fact over. Bill Motz put out a thread finally explaining exactly what happened. We were deep in the writing of Season 2 scripts when the Ghost and Molly McGee premiered in October 2021. The early indicators from our first drop on Disney Plus were that the show was doing quite well. So wanting to keep the production going, Disney decided to commission the writing of 10 Season 3 scripts in hopes of success. Unfortunately, without the robust marketing support we had at launch, our second drop on Disney Plus in December 21 did not perform as well. Even though our third drop improved, by early June 2022, it was decided that the show would not continue onto its Season 3. It was pencils down. Obviously, this broke our hearts. And not just the hearts of the Ghost and Molly McGee crew, but all the supporting teams at Disney TVA, including the leadership that had invested passion, time, and resources into bringing this show to life. Bob and I always knew how we wanted the series to end, but without additional episodes, we wouldn't have the opportunity to tell that story. So we asked for one more episode to wrap everything up. That was a huge request, asking Disney to spend additional resources on a show they had just decided not to continue. Yet somehow, miraculously, the team at Disney TVA found a way to make it happen. At that same time, big changes came to Disney. Bob Chapek left and Bob Iger returned. With those transitions, and knowing that it can take a show 15 months to find an audience, many felt there was an opportunity to revisit the Season 3 decision. The studio liked the show and hoped that its Season 2 performance would prove that it should continue. It was during this time that the title The End was revealed. So Bob tweeted, "The end doesn't necessarily mean the end." The plan was to hold that episode until it was clear the series was actually coming to an end. And indeed, Season 2 did perform quite well. But in this ever-changing and dynamic media landscape, the show needed to grow its viewership even more than it did to merit additional episodes. So the no Season 3 decision was upheld. Here's the thing I want you to know. We are incredibly proud of this show. It is everything we hoped it would be and more. There's not a single thing we would change about it. And though we are sad the series has come to an end, we are also immensely grateful to Disney for believing in us and bringing our vision to life. I cannot stress enough what a big deal this is. The studio committed years of resources, effort, and support to make the Ghost and Molly McGee a reality. The fact that the show exists at all is amazing to me. So, I don't want to spend this entire video harping on Disney because I want to continue to keep things positive, but this whole situation is just so unbelievably frustrating. If Disney Plus viewership numbers are going to be what they determine success or failure by, then Disney needs to do more to actually market the show to Disney Plus viewers. Seriously, they haven't mentioned the show on Twitter once ever, and what little promotion of the show they did do on YouTube was the laziest thing imaginable. Every episode drop for Season 2 up until December just showed various clips from the first Season 2 trailer. They finally got clips from later in Season 2 for the December drop, which was the Christmas and New Year's episode, and they used a clip from Fona, which was not the episode on that drop, and then January...
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh!
Are you f***ing kidding me? It's the show's finale, and you went back to using clips from the Season 2 launch trailer! So, just unbelievably lazy. Lazy, lazy, lazy. I think Matt Brawley summed this up very well. Studios now. Step 1. Invest millions of dollars into a show with a passionate and talented team. Step 2. Refuse to market it at all, as if the show is supposed to reach people via magic or witchcraft. Step 3. Step 4. Profit. Anyways, let's talk about the actual episodes. Although, staying on the topic of scheduling frustrations, I'm honestly also frustrated that they did this back-to-back episodes thing, because Jinx vs. the Human World was completely overshadowed by the end. As previously stated, Jinx vs. the Human World was the season finale, with the end functioning as the series finale. It would have been nice to have a week to talk about Jinx vs. the Human World before the end. I'm also not going to spend much time actually recapping the episodes here, because if you're still watching this video, I'm assuming you've already seen the episodes or just don't care about spoilers. Jinx vs. the Human World is pretty much exactly what I expected it would be, and it was really fun. Scratch being lazy and bad at his job setting everything into motion was just perfect.
But isn't that against the rules?
I'm the chairman, Molly. I make the rules.
Wow, I can't believe Scratch just left the chairman robes for me. So lazy, so irresponsible.
Okay, no, that tracks. Actually, I can't believe that.
See this? This is what happens when you force someone to take a job they don't want. It was really cool to see Libby, Ollie, and June as wraiths, and the bit where the Ghost Council hypes up Molly with joy by saying nice things about Scratch is so good.
As much as he was irresponsible, I did grow fond of him.
Yes. In the end, I suppose you could say we were friends.
Nothing gives me more joy than friendship!
Oh, and another thing I was wrong about that several other people were right about.
Allow me to introduce you to the kindest, sweetest ghost who's ever existed. Our friend...
Joe! That's G-E-O...
Ah!
It's you! FF.
Jeff was the ghost who scared Ruben. The fact that Ruben's whole ideology was started by literally the nicest ghost ever, accidentally, mwah, chef's kiss.
Sorry again for scaring you earlier. I still feel real bad about it.
Molly brings in a ton of reinforcements, and
Oh, I am better than okay. I found my joy again.
the song where everyone sings about things that bring them joy to get the Sobgoblins to explode was a lot of fun. And we actually got proof that June does indeed go to Brighton Middle. Holy crap, it took the whole season for us to get this. And apparently Mega City is an RPG? Ghost Shark saves the day, and Ruben is finally the one to trap Jinx in the Phantom Canister with help from June. Daryl and June's interactions here were great, but I'm saving that for a future video. You probably already know which one. And after Jinx is defeated, everyone celebrates.
Best friends forever. The Ghost and Molly McGee.
Wow, what a great season finale! I can't wait to have my heart ripped out in the series finale. And again, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on plot synopsis here because I'm assuming you've already seen the episodes. Scratch's backstory was first explored in A Soda to Remember, and then was followed up on in All in the Mind. The finale starts with Molly being thanked for everything she's done for Brighton, and everyone enjoying a day at the Turnip Festival. But in the process of eating a bunch of funnel cakes, Scratch experiences a rush of memories from his life. Molly and Scratch work to piece everything together as he remembers a whole series of incredible adventures. But there's one piece missing.
How did Scratch, how shall I say this?
What do you mean?
Spit it out, Dad.
How did Scratch,
Tag me in, sweetie. Die. How did Scratch die?
thanks, hon.
Oh, yeah. That's a memory we haven't unlocked yet.
They find out that Audia is actually a travel influencer on Click Clock. Molly sets up an interview with her and asks her about her childhood friend.
When you lived in Brighton, did you have a best friend? One who, I don't know, had a healthy appreciation for Yum Yums and strawberry soda?
Oh, yeah, Scratch! I mean, that was his nickname. He had this habit of scratching his arms when he got nervous, which happened a lot. It was cute.
But Audia tells them that Scratch never joined her on any of her adventures, and, more importantly, that he's not even dead. Livy and Ollie went and did some investigating with June earlier and found out what triggered the memories.
It wasn't the funnel cakes that unlocked Scratch's memories. It was this guy.
Todd Mortensen. He's got no joy, no mischief. There's nothing at all behind those eyes. It's like he's got no soul.
I hated the idea of this twist, and so did a lot of my fellow fans of the show. It's actually really funny to think that Bill has absolutely seen us talking in Molly Court about how much we didn't like this theory. And in retrospect, the signs were all there.
Look at this guy. Zero spirit. It's like he has no soul.
This was a decision they had made during the development of Season 1, and the clues were always there. Which means that Jonathan's theory from when the show came out was actually also pretty close to being right. But to everyone who was expecting me to hate that they went and did it, this time I'm actually thrilled to let you know that I was so wrong. We had already heard from Bill that Scratch's life before he was a ghost never amounted to much of anything. Scratch only remembered all of those adventures because he did keep in touch with Audie all those years. And the song here, all about how Scratch was too afraid to leave and take risks, it's just so heartbreaking. Molly eventually finds Scratch across the street from Todd's house, and they have a heart-to-heart. I'm not going to play the whole thing here because the episode is out on YouTube and I'm trying to stay on YouTube's good side, but it's a hard decision to make. Stay a ghost or go back to living. And he's still afraid, but it's a different kind of fear this time.
Yeah, I'm afraid. And you should be too.
As a ghost, I forgot my human life. So what if as a human, I forget my afterlife?
And me.
And while this is Scratch's story, it's also Molly's story, and I think it's really important to go back and examine Molly's character here. In the pilot, the McGees are moving into their forever home after years of moving around from place to place due to Pete's city planning job. Which means that, for most of Molly's life, all she really had was her family. As the years went by and they moved from town to town, she kept up her kind and optimistic nature, and her family was always there for her. But heartbreak after heartbreak absolutely took a toll on her.
I've left behind a lot of friends.
So, when moving to what promised to be their forever home, Molly was so eager to make a true friend that she wouldn't have to say goodbye to, she latched onto a grouchy ghost who couldn't have wanted any less to do with her. Scratch's accidental curse solidifying their forever besties status. But of course, Molly's charms quickly won him over. Molly continued to make friends. She helped Libby break out of her shell and become more confident. She helped Andrea realize that she could actually have real friends who weren't just fans. She helped Ollie and June realize that they were wrong about ghosts. And of course, she helped Scratch grow.
You've changed! You've made friends! You're brave now, brave enough to share yourself with the world. And even if you forget me, I know you won't forget that.
She selflessly pushes him to go back to living, to do what he always wanted to do. She loves him so much that she's willing to lose him forever if it means that he'll be happy. And I'm literally never gonna be able to watch this or even think about it without crying. Later, Todd is about to leave town, and everyone tries to jog his memory, but he clearly doesn't remember anything. And while Molly's clearly sad to see such a wonderful friend go, she's glad to see him finally able to be truly happy.
You okay, Molly?
It's okay to have big feelings.
I'm okay. Just happy to see my friend finally satisfying his soul.
Bill said, "Some of you may recall that before the Ghost and Molly McGee premiered, I would post songs that inspired the show on a Spotify playlist. During the development of the show, the song What the World Needs Now popped on, and I instantly knew how I wanted to end the series. I associate that song with a TV special I watched at school called For the Love of Fred, which aired in 1970. I was 6 years old, and it had a profound emotional impact on me. The synopsis of the special was, the Ritz puppets perform in this charming fable. The story, Fred is a flustered caterpillar. He would love to sprout beautiful butterfly wings, but he doesn't know how to weave a cocoon. All that Fred needs, the doctor says, is a little hope, but mostly lots of love. So with a little help from Albert the Chipmunk, Sir Geoffrey the Giraffe, and Magnolia the Ostrich, Fred begins a treasure hunt for love. The special ends, spoiler, with Albert wrapping up Fred in a cocoon of gauze and rocking him back and forth for days. One morning, Albert wakes up in his rocking chair to find the gauze cocoon unraveled and Fred missing. Albert and his friends go looking for Fred, but instead find a butterfly with Fred's face. But the butterfly doesn't know them. He is a new creature now. The butterfly flies away, unaware his transformation was due to the selfless love shown to him by friends he doesn't remember. Fred soars into the sky as What the World Needs Now plays. It was all pretty emotional stuff for a 6-year-old. I remember having so many conflicting feelings. I was sad for Albert and his friends who no longer had Fred in their lives. I was happy that Fred was finally able to live his lifelong dream. and I felt that it wasn't fair that Albert would not be remembered by Fred for his act of kindness. That was maybe the first time I was made aware of what that kind of selfless love looked like. Love that didn't demand recognition or return, but was simply given. And I felt and thought all those things because of a TV puppet show I saw only once, yet has stuck with me forever. We were already playing with the Scratch as a Wraith idea, but when I chatted with Bob about my thoughts and then pitched it, in tears, to our development executive, we knew this was how we should end our show. For you see, this is the story of a ghost and the girl who brought him back to life. Last month I was riding the monorail after doing some holiday resort hopping with my mom, and a couple of little girls recognized my shirt and were so excited to see it and talk to me about the show and how much they love it. And I'd venture to guess that those little girls right now are feeling about the same way that Bill Motz felt all those years ago when he watched that special. I mean, I'm 26, it's a few days later, and I'm a freaking puddle over a Disney Channel cartoon. It's such powerful stuff, and as frustrating as it is that the show was sabotaged by a lack of marketing and scatterbrained release schedule, I'll be forever grateful that they were at least willing to give Bill and Bob one last episode to wrap everything up exactly how they had always envisioned it. My mind kept going back to another show that can reliably make me cry. That, of course, being Bluey. One of the best episodes of Bluey is called Camping, and in it, Bluey meets a boy named Jean-Luc. He speaks French, and she speaks English, of course, but the two of them quickly become friends and find ways to communicate while playing together. It's really sweet and beautiful, which of course is what Bluey will always excel at. But unfortunately, that language barrier means that Jean-Luc isn't able to properly communicate to Bluey that he's leaving the next morning, and Bluey only realizes this after they're already gone. And Bluey's mom Chili says,
"Sometimes special people come into our lives, stay for a bit, and then they have to go."
But that's sad.
It is. But the bit where they were here was happy, wasn't it? Maybe that makes it all worth it.
Will I ever see him again?
Well, you never know. The world's a magical place.
Whoa.
I like to think that Molly and Scratch will see each other again someday, but even if they don't, to paraphrase Wicked, I do believe I have been changed for the better. And because I knew you, I have been changed for good. And to go back to Bill one last time, this show has been a labor of love by all who helped make it. If you worked on the Ghost and Molly McGee in any way, please take a bow by saying what you did and tagging yourself with hashtag TGAMM crew. If you enjoyed the show, thank them and Disney on their handles. We hope our little show has brought you joy and that you always keep a little Molly McGee in your spirit as you happify your family, friends, communities, and the world. Thank you, Bill Motz. And that's exactly what I plan to do. This little show changed my life. It changed a lot of lives. That's not an exaggeration. It's a show that came out at a time when I think the world needed it most, and it's such a massive shame that it didn't reach more people. I can only hope that someday we'll get to visit this world and these characters again. Another video I made not long ago was one discussing the 5 stages of grief with the Owl House ending, and while I was optimistic about the future of the show, a part of me had the thought that I'd be going through that whenever this show did end because it means so much to me. But the one part of my video from last week that didn't age poorly was this. I think we all need to ask ourselves, what would Molly do?
She'd probably help her brother clean this wall.
And honestly, if this show meant as much to you as it did to me, I think that's the only way forward here. I don't want to be angry or bitter that this show was sadly cut short. I want to celebrate the show that we got. I want to get more people to watch it because it's amazing. I want this show to live on and continue to inspire more and more people. I've been talking with some fellow fans of the show on ways that we can do this, and I think the best way is to focus on getting this small but passionate fandom recognized as one that's a force for good in the world. Hosting charity events. I want us to do stuff that gets people to think, wow, what about this goofy little show inspired these people to do all of this? If we can do some real good and give back like Molly and her family have done so often throughout the course of the show, I think we'll be doing the show's legacy justice. And if we can convince enough people to watch the show that Disney decides to revisit the Ghost and Molly McGee in some form down the road, honestly, that's just a bonus. We're still in the early stages of planning all of this, but definitely stay tuned. I'm really excited for it. I do still wish we could have spent just a little bit more time with these characters, especially given some of the fun dynamics this season gave us that we didn't get to see much of, like Molly and Ollie's relationship, and especially June.
A haunted mansion in New Orleans.
Oh no! The hitchhiker's ghost is coming to eat my soul!
Cliche? It's called an homage.
Of course, there's always my way.
Well, we moved from upstate New York. Just finished a big cross-country road trip. We went to Gettysburg to see the battlefields, Salem, the Alamo in San Antonio, this creepy lighthouse in Florida, the site of the Chicago fire, and a haunted mansion in New Orleans.
When hinges creak in doorless chambers.
We spent a couple of weeks here in New Orleans when we were filming our road trip videos because there was so much to cover, and we still barely scratched the surface.
And strange and frightening sounds echo through the halls.
Since we were never able to prove that ghosts existed before we moved to Brighton, they pretty much all focused on the stories, how people died, the reported hauntings, stuff like that. But there's one place in particular that's just a tangled web of contradictions.
Whenever candlelights flicker, where the air is deathly still.
Gracie Manor. It's said to be the most haunted house in New Orleans, and nobody could agree on anything about it, not even who built it.
That is the time when ghosts are present, practicing their terror with ghoulish delight.
Gracie Manor? The world-famous retirement home for ghosts, Gracie Manor?
It's open for tours. We should go visit.
Maybe after another round of beignets.
Welcome, foolish mortals, to the haunted mansion.
I'm on the wrong coast.
Hey everyone, welcome to the outro. Thank you so much for watching. Not gonna lie, this was a tough video to get through without crying. Once again, if you could drop a like on this video and subscribe if you haven't already, that would be great. It really helps me against the YouTube algorithm. I've had some people ask me what the future of this channel is gonna look like now that the Ghost and Molly McGee is over, and honestly, it's not gonna look much different. I'm still going to make videos about it and other shows, and the next one will definitely be the one on neurodivergent representation. Also, if you're a fan artist and would like to contribute to the Haunted Mansion project, feel free to join my Discord server and let me know. And I've admittedly been really bad about having videos available for Patreon a full week early because of time constraints, but I promise that the neurodivergent representation video, or videos, I haven't decided if it's going to be one part or two, will be available to all of my patrons a full week early. So if you like my videos and want to help me out, just $1 a month gets you your name in the credits and access to every video I make, usually 1 week early. That's patreon.com/sunnylandprods.
If you feel like you're becoming someone else, if you're losing track of you inside yourself, if you're feeling out of practice like the cactus on the shelf, go explore. Get out your door, live a little. Live a little. Spread your love far and wide. Eat a churro, maybe 5. Maybe while you're still alive, live a little. Do, 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 do.